yards behind his older brother, Sammy.
Well, Jeff Swindell, very poised, very smooth. When you watch him drive around a slower lap car, Jeff Swindell doesn't really put many wheels wrong. A very poised young man, and he likes the big, fast miles and the big, fast half miles where these World of Outlaw drivers compete most of the time.
Well, right now, his brother Sammy in the red #1 car is just flying by lap traffic. He's not concerned at all with little brother. No sibling association here, Brock. It's every man for himself.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, he said earlier he was afraid that Jeff might get him.
Yeah, and you can be sure he'd fight Jeff just as hard as he would anybody else in this place if he challenged him. But right now, nobody is challenging Sammy Swindell. That is turn 1. He's heading down into that very narrow turn 2 and out onto the back straightaway, unchallenged here at Syracuse.
Did you notice, Brock, that Swindell goes into the turns, especially one, he gets down and almost puts the wheel up against the arm cover.
He does indeed. Keeps that car tucked in nice and low. No wasted motion. Notice the car doesn't get sideways much. He drives it a lot like he's on asphalt right now. The car is handling perfectly. Not a lot of rod sliding that you sometimes see a sprinter do. He just hooks it up and runs it through the corners like he's on rails.
Now Sammy sets his sights on Jack Hausenstrahl, who you remember won the Consi. Well, look at this. Swindell can't quite get around him. As Hausenstrahl continues to race, his car gets a little bit quicker. He's tough to pass. Now Swindell executes it.
He does. I think Jack probably saw him come or felt that there was a faster car behind him and just moved a little bit to the outside to let the quicker car through. You'll find most of the professionals in the World of Outlaws will let the faster cars through if they are being lapped. And that's exactly what happened as we watched Jeff Swindell down the front straightaway and into turn #1.
In fact, this track is getting so much like asphalt, we're starting to see some smoke off the tires going into the turns.
As we watch Jeff Swindell down the back straightaway, still holding on to second place. That's Keith Kaufman. He's up against the fence in 2, Steve.
And what that's going to do is bring out a caution and allow Jeff Swindell to close up on Sam and allow Brad Doty to close up on both of them. The ambulance is over there, but the word comes down the driver is A-OK. But they've got to slow these cars down in the interest of safety to get that car off of the racetrack. And in the pit area, already talking about loading up is Doug Wolfgang. What a miserable day it has been for him.
Started 7th, scratched his way up to 3rd, and then out for the afternoon. Tough break.
And here, Brock, an interesting pit stop. This is the second place runner, Jeff Swindell, and hoping to find just exactly the right tire gear combination so that maybe he can chase down his own brother when they go back out. But he better hurry. If he doesn't get out on that racetrack before the green flag falls, he could go a lap down. We'll be back for the final Outlaw Shootout. Well, you can bet the gloves are off now because only a few laps remain to the richest payday in sprint car racing history. Jeff Swindell was in the pits. Well, he got back out in time to fall in behind his brother, the leader, Sammy Swindell, in the #1 car. Brad Doty in number 75. Well, he is still a big threat to win it all. If there were a hard luck award, it ought to go to the driver Brock is now with. He started 9th, got as far up as 5th, and then fell out of the race. Brock?
I'm a Keith Kaufman who was running a real strong 5th, and all of a sudden up against the fence. What happened, Keith? Something break?
Something broke in the car driveline or something, I think. It just quit running.
Well, you just no way to get a restart. She just snapped, and you didn't hurt yourself, did you?
No, I'm all right. Just something broke in the car.
Well, we're sorry you're out.
Thank you.
Well, Brock, find yourself a seat because the green flag is about to wave the restart for the final few laps of the Supernationals 100-kilometer race. Almost $20,000 awaits one of these drivers. Could it be Sammy Swindell in the red #1 car? Most of the fans think so. Scruffing up his tires, his little brother Jeff Swindell, running in the number 80 car just behind him, and hard charging number 75, Brad Doty. He's got his fans as well. You can get an idea of how slippery this racetrack is. Just turning the wheel a little bit is enough to get him to slide. The green flag is out. It is Sammy Swindell, two-time world champion, headed down into turn #1.
So we've got Sammy, brother Jeff, and right behind him, the charging Brad Doty, who came from way back. Be interesting to see if Brad can get by Jeff. It looks as if Sammy's just going to say sayonara once again. It doesn't look like anybody's going to catch him, but it could be a good race for second. Hammering down that narrow back straightaway, we see Jeff Swindell. Right behind him, Brad Doty, and a few car lengths behind him, Kenny Jacobs. The racetrack is starting to break up a little bit in the corners, Steve. Let's hope nobody hooks a rut in these closing laps.
Well, there's so many ifs in this kind of racing, Brock. What if Brad Doty hadn't been involved in that early accident? He might be in that place Jeff Swindell occupies right now. I don't think anybody would have final spot. Sam Swindell.
You're right. Jeff Swindell, second place. Brad Doty, third. And right behind him, Jacobs, once again, unreeling another lap on this challenging, narrow, and now falling into shadows, the racetrack that they really fear, the Moody Mile at Syracuse.
Well, the conditions right now are about as nasty as they could possibly be. And there is the last lap flag. The white flag is out for this man, Sammy Swindell. Is he headed for his biggest ever payday? It sure looks like it. And winning here would give him every major crown in sprint car racing, Brock.
Absolutely. A masterful drive by Sammy Swindell as he roars off turn 4. The checkered flag is out. He's got it. The winner here in the Supernationals 100, Memphis, Tennessee, Sammy Swindell.
And finishing right behind him will be his brother Jeff in the second spot. And following him in the third position, Brad Doty, who really gave us all a thrill today with a masterful driving job. A young man from Ohio that shows more than just promise, championship ability.
But right now, it's the two Swindell brothers who form up for a victory lap, Steve, and between them, they're going to go back to Memphis, Tennessee with over $30,000 in their jeans. Not a bad day for Brad Doty either. There's a $7,500 check waiting for him.
And I'm sure there's a lot of Steve Kenter fans who are filing out into the parking lot, muttering to themselves, boy, if our guy had been out there, it wouldn't have been that easy for the red car. Well, I have to wonder about that, though, Brock. He was just so poised and ready for the mile today. Sammy Swindell, that's as close as you can come to running a perfect race.
Right, and you got to remember the 134-mile-an-hour qualifying lap by Rocky Hodges, and he was out before a lap. But in all, a terrific day of racing here at Syracuse. We'll be back to talk to winner Sammy Swindell, his brother Jeff, and Brad Doty after this. It's a flag-to-flag victory for this man, Sammy Swindell, here at Syracuse today. Brother Jeff in second, Brad Doty third, Kenny Jacobs in fourth, and Bobby Davis Jr. in fifth place. Let's go to Steve with the winner.
So Sammy Swindell totally dominates the Syracuse Mile on this afternoon. An absolutely flawless job. Getting congratulations from Ted Johnson, president of the World of Outlaws. Sam, your strategy appeared to work perfectly. Pass him coming off the turns and make as much power as you can down the straightaway. It couldn't have been any better.
Yeah, well, the old Milwaukee car just worked real good today. Everything was right. The car was working perfect, and the motor was real strong.
Any moments that had you holding your breath?
Well, just at the one time when those two guys got together, a couple cars ahead of me, it was a bunch of dust, and I couldn't see anything, so I figured they'd go to the out. They had to slide out, so the only chance I had was to just stay right on the bottom.
Well, race driving doesn't get any better than you did today. Congratulations, Sammy Swindell.
Okay, thank you.